Lesson 4, how to stop negative self-talk and how to reduce the intake of negativity. In the last video, I shared some tools to release negative emotions. In this video, I'll be talking about how to stop negative self-talk and how to reduce the intake of negativity. If you can imagine an image of yourself filled with plus signs representing the positive emotions and minus signs representing the negative emotions, you can get a pretty good idea of where you're at emotionally. It's like an emotional bank account with deposits and withdrawals. Our goal is to improve our emotional bank account balance by increasing the positive and decreasing the negative. Now, we have talked about tools to increase positive and tools to release negative. But if we're constantly filling ourselves with negative, then it's still pretty hard to create a positive balance. Oftentimes, the number one culprit to filling ourselves with negativity is ourselves. We can beat ourselves up all day with our negative self-talk, and it hurts us. It hurts us every bit as much as any other form of bullying, and it's not okay. The first step to stop negative thinking and negative self-talk is to become aware of it. Sometimes it's so reflexive that we're not even aware that we're doing it. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. If you catch yourself thinking or saying something unkind about yourself, imagine a giant stop sign in front of your face, reminding you that this is not okay. Beating ourselves up is not the same thing as being humble. Humility is a positive trait. But bullying anyone, including ourselves, is a negative trait. Say to yourself, I am the kind of person who is kind to myself. And if you have to repeat that process 100 times a day, that's okay. The goal is to treat yourself with the same kindness and respect that you would give to a friend. The next step in treating ourselves kindly is learning how to measure by the gain rather than the gap. In Dan Sullivan's book, The Gap and the Gain, he explains that we all have ideals, things that we'd like to achieve or how we'd like to become. And then there's the reality of where we actually are. If we measure ourselves by the gap between where we are and our ideal, we're miserable and we feel like failures. But if we measure the gain between where we started and where we are now, we feel accomplished and successful. Pay attention to how you feel. When something makes you miserable, that's not helping you, and it's increasing those stress hormones. When we feel happy and productive, that increases the feel-good chemicals in our body. We become happier and less stressed when we measure ourselves and others in the gain rather than the gap. Another thing we can do to limit negativity is to limit social media, news, entertainment, or other people that focus on negativity. Social media can be a great tool to stay connected, but it can also be a way to make ourselves feel miserable and less satisfied with our lives. Research shows that spending a lot of time on social media causes depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem. It also causes people to feel less satisfied with their own lives. It is natural to compare ourselves with others, and we often compare their highlight reel to our blooper reel, and we don't measure up. Pay attention to how you feel. If you're scrolling through social media and you're feeling great, that's awesome. But if you're feeling discouraged and worthless, then it's not helping you. It's hurting you. Limit the amount of time you spend on social media. Set a timer, and when the alarm goes off, then stop and go do something else. Don't worry about FOMO, the fear of missing out. What you're gaining is your own happiness. And that's something that we really don't want to miss out. You can find more tools to reduce the intake of negativity and increase confidence and self-esteem on the Hope for Healing website at hopeforhealingfoundation.org. In the next lesson, I'll explain how we can be happier and healthier by nourishing the brain and healing the gut.